Hey guys, Timeboy601, and today I want to talk about the JU-88C, the newest bomber to come to Battlefield 5 and all of its quirks and features, so we're just going to dive on in. The JU-88C is the newest bomber to come to Battlefield 5 in this week's Tides of War, and let me tell you, Jesus Christ, is this thing a piece of shit you never want to fucking use. Let me tell you. So, to unlock this thing, if you want to go through the whole thing, it's relatively easy. This is the last week of this kind of seasons of Tides of War. I'm not going to go through many of it. The hardest thing you're going to have to do is the last challenge, is get 200 kills as a squad or squad assets. Basically, play like 5 or 6 games, and then you're going to unlock that because hopefully your squad is competent enough to have unlocked it. Anyway, moving on to what we all care about, the JU-88C. The C definitely stands for crappy. Okay, so let's dive on in. On the base variant of this, you get two 250 kilogram bombs and you get an auto repair. Your first level of specializations is either going to be dive brakes or radar package. The next level is going to either be the MG-151 22mm, the armored fuselage, or the wing repair, then spotting camera or passenger machine gun, and finally, the last thing you unlock is the 75mm Ventral Cannon, the thing that you probably came for to begin with. And it's actually pretty decent. The Ventral Cannon is pretty good, but it's the rest of the choices they made with this aircraft that just make it a complete waste of your time, and something that I am looking forward to never having to fly again. I've just, this has gotten me pissed off. Anyways, 75mm Ventral Cannon, butterfly bombs, or 4 151 by 20mm ventral mounts. So what's going on with this? Well, first off, you are in a giant bomber, which means that your maneuverability is not that great. And it is something that you will have to deal with a lot in this game. Now, it does feel, to me, it does feel a little more maneuverable than I remember the JU-88 feeling. I'm just going to read the description of the plane that the game gives, and then I'll tell you why it irks me. The JU-88 was developed to fill a myriad of roles on the battlefield, including heavy fighter, bomber, destroyer, and ground attack aircraft. Some of these variants mounted high-caliber anti-tank cannons in gondolas under the fuselage while retaining some bombing capabilities. And that is what's wrong with this, because once you get to a certain point, you no longer have bombs with this bomber, making it almost useless as a bomber. And useless overall, because in order to destroy something with the main cannon, you have to stay focused on it for a good amount of time, because you only have 12 shots. You're not going to get too much out of it, but you have to stay focused, which leaves you vulnerable to all sorts of things, including Spitfires, including the Mosquito that was released last week that has a cannon and a bomb on it. So this variant is obsolete from the beginning. It doesn't provide you anything, because the second you get anyone on your tail, you're most likely going to die, because they're more maneuverable, they have better firepower, and you have no way of actually performing the role you're supposed to be doing. So, some tips for when you have to rank this thing up. So first off, the first rank, most people are going to go specking for that 75mm Ventral Cannon, which means you have to go down the left-hand tree, which means at a certain point, the MG-151, that's going to replace your main guns. You're going to get 200 rounds, and those are pretty decent at taking out aircraft. However, if you upgrade to stage 3, the spotting camera, you do not get bombs anymore. By equipping the spotting camera, for some reason, they've taken away all of your bombs. So you, at that point, have to rely on just your forward-firing autocannon as your only way to get points to hopefully rank this thing up in order to get the 75mm Ventral Cannon, which is terrible because it's a bomber. It's not a fighter. I shouldn't have to be trying to play this thing as a fighter. I get that it's going to be a ground attack plane, and that's what we're kind of speccing it towards. That's not how this thing has been like programmed. It's not how it works in the game, and you just feel sluggish and vulnerable, and it just it shows its weaknesses right off the bat. Now, alternatively, you could try to go down the other tree, which you would not then lose the bombing, but you're not going to want to stay long on that path. One thing I do like this, I want to like point out, is if you go with the radar package to begin with, something cool does happen. You do get a radar array on the nose of the plane, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of fun. You can get those, but with the radar, you're like 250 meters, not enough range in this game to effectively like use as real radar. 250 meters is about the size of your mini map, not the expanded one, but the tiny one. And if a plane is within that, you most likely will have already seen them. Yes, it's gonna kind of help you on those engagements that turn into like circle affairs, but you won't be winning those engagements because you're in a bomber. You're not going to win maneuverability contests in the JU-88. You're just not. So why are you forcing us to spec into that direction, DICE? Like, that doesn't make sense. So that's one thing that irks me. The other thing, the spotting camera, can't reload it. If you fly through a resupply point, you can't re-up. You can't get more film for your camera, I guess. I guess they're only made so that they could deliver bullets and bombs to you in midair, not camera film. So, you know, if you're in a game where, like, yeah, you're struggling along to get the points to unlock the Ventral Cannon, so you're doing recon because it's safe enough and there's enough people on the enemy team that, like, you get a couple of points every time you use the spotting camera. Well, you only get 5 shots at it, and then you better start using yourself as some sort of strafing bomber instead of a bomber because you lost your bombs. Because for some reason, even though the game says, oh yes, even when they mounted the Ventral Cannon, they still had bombs, DICE decided not to put the bombs in the game. I don't understand. This plane needs a rework. It's come out and it needs a rework because it is absolutely terrible to fly. It is terrible to play. You don't have any specialized role. The plane that came out last week for the British is by far more superior to it. And I get it. Yes, the regular JU-88 is far superior to the British bomber. I get that. But maybe DICE should kind of start looking at parity, because this is something where the new plane on the Allies team is so far and superior in any way to the majority of the planes in the game, where this just doesn't get you through. It doesn't do the job anymore, and it's something that really kind of ruins flying. Like, now the British by far and easily have the best plane in the game, and they're going to dominate the skies for the remainder of this game until there's a new plane coming, which we don't know because we don't have a roadmap right now. Yeah, that's it, guys. That's the JU-88. That's the end of my angry rant about this thing. It's not worth unlocking, really. It is not worth it. Save yourself the frustration, and just wait for you to have to pay a couple thousand company coin to unlock it if you're really interested. If not, stay the farthest away you can from this garbage plane. Guys, my name's TommyBoy601. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.